When you're removing horseshoes, you first have to rasp off the clinches on the outer hoof wall here. And I'm using an old hoof rasp for this because using a rasp on metal is really going to dull it a lot. So I have a specific rasp that I use just for removing shoes. It's a rasp I used to use on horses' hooves, and then when it got too dull, I switched it to my shoe removing rasp. So I just rasped those off on both sides. And now these look like nippers, what I'm using here, but they're actually shoe pullers. They're slightly different. And again, I would not, like I could use my nippers to do this, but it would really dull them and mess them up. And so these are specifically for pulling shoes. And what I'm doing is starting at the back and just pulling slightly. And as you can see, I'm alternating back and forth because I can't just pull one side off since it's a solid piece. So I have to loosen each side a little bit, coming down closer to the toe until it's all going to come off. And because I did that rasping, that's kind of like the head that is on the top of the nail. So this is just going to, now I can pull it out smoothly. And sometimes they come off really easily and sometimes they're a little bit harder. These shoes came off, it was pretty moderate, kind of right in the middle there. When I'm pulling it off like this, I just really want to make sure that the nails don't break off in the hoof. You want to be as delicate as possible. So coming onto the back hoof here, I'm doing the same thing. And you just saw me switch sides of my rasp. I will often use actually the less aggressive side of the rasp. It's the easiest for removing those clinches. Here is just another view of me doing the same thing on the other side. When you are doing this part of removing the shoes, you just want to do it a few times. You'll feel it kind of catching and then you'll feel it get smoother. And that's when you've done enough. You really only need a few strokes. And coming here to remove a back hoof, at first I was just going to rest his hoof on my leg here, but he didn't like that so much. So I'm going to grab my stand. And the most important part about doing this is keeping the hoof really stable, because when I pull the shoe pullers on that metal horseshoe, it's really easy just to pull the whole leg. So you can see I'm using the hand I'm not using on the tools to kind of hold at his heels or his pastern there to keep it still, so I can use that leverage and I'm not just bending his whole foot and I'm actually pulling at the like removing the shoe away from the hoof instead of just pulling his whole leg. It's really all about stability, just like with hoof trimming. When you're rasping, you want the hoof to be as stable as possible. Well, the same thing when you're pulling the shoe. I want this hoof to be as stable as possible. And this is kind of the most risky part of it, when the shoe is almost off like this, because I don't want him to jerk his foot and set it down when the nails are halfway pulled out and have them go back in and hit different tissue. Here I just put it on fast forward because it's more of the same thing, removing those clinches. And now I'm back. This is something I didn't have to do in the other hooves, is you want to make sure, just like when you're trimming, that the hoof is clean, because if there's rocks in there, it's going to get in the way of your shoe pullers. Any kind of mud or manure is just going to get in your way. So you do want to clean the hoof out if there's stuff in there. And another reason that we start at the back is because there's no nails right at the back. So it's easy to get your shoe pullers in there. And this is the same angle or a different angle for the other back foot. That one came off really quickly. And here on this front hoof, again, just a few quick rasp strokes. You can kind of see that the rasp is catching on there. And then there, as soon as I got it, it stopped catching. Now it's coming off smoothly. So that's how I know I've kind of done enough there. And how I'm holding the rasp with both hands like that, that's giving me a little more power to get into that metal there. And there you see, it's smoother and easier again. This hoof was super dirty, and so I'm just cleaning it out really well. I don't want to dull my tools on rocks. And it's much easier, in my opinion, to pull shoes on front hooves because I can put the hoof in between my leg like this, which is a lot more stability than just being on the hoof stand. I can squeeze and hold it pretty tight and prevent it from wiggling around too much. Some horses really don't like to have you hold their foot in between your leg like that. But I find for pulling shoes, it really is the safest and easiest and fastest way to get it done. So when you pull shoes from a horse, you really don't want to take any extra support from them right away. So as far as trimming this frog, I'm just going to take these flaps that are hanging off already. We're going to wrap this foot and treat it for central sulcus infection. First, I'm just going to clean it up a little bit, barely at all. And I'm going to leave his bars. That bar is a little bit lumpy, but I want him to have that support. I can trim that down next time I come. I'm going to come in here with my hoof knife. I'll clean all this gunk out better before I wrap. And he's being really good about letting me get in there. Sometimes they're super tender with that. And we don't know, because we don't know this horse's history, if he had the central sulcus infection and then they put shoes on him. I'm gonna check his balance here. So this side is a little higher. We don't know if that happened because of the shoes or it happened before the shoes. Either way, we want to work on getting that better. And I'm just going to take easy. Just take this side as a little bit higher. And I'm just going to put a bevel on here without taking too much material, because I don't want to make him any more likely to get sore. But I want to do this bevel to prevent any chipping or cracking. I'm going to come back and check this again. A little bit high on this side still. Good boy. Good boy. And same thing on the back foot here. He's got a healthier frog on this back foot. The thing with thrush and central sulcus infection is that it's easier mechanically for them to switch to a toe first landing in the front. And oh boy. Bloopers!
Oh, sorry. Wow. Oh, man.
It's okay.
That's big.
That's a lot, bud. Easy boy. Good boy. Good boy. So coming on this back foot, I actually didn't get GoPro footage of the first front foot on accident, but what I was saying was that his back feet are, this one at least, has a much more healthy frog, which is very common because it's very hard mechanically to do a toe first landing in the back. It's much easier to compensate and switch to that in the front, which is what we don't want. So that makes things like thrush, central sulcus infections, and an unhealthy frog much more common in front hooves than back hooves. So I'm just gonna come here again. I'm still gonna very mildly clean it up. I wanna leave as much support for him as possible. Just peek in here a little bit. I mainly wanna make sure the hoof is balanced and beveled. Go, just clean up these little flaps of the frog to prevent bacteria from getting any manure or anything getting trapped in there. Good boy. And sight down his heels. He's pretty even. So I'm just gonna do a little bit here. I'm gonna come on this bevel, not taking a ton of material off. He's being really good. There we go. That's all I'm going to do to this foot here. It's going to probably be similar on the other foot. Very similar. He's got some gunk in these collateral grooves. I'll just clean that up. And easy. Again, just these flaps of the frog without taking any supporting material. There we go. I want to get these flaps right at the back here. He's got a flap on this tip of his frog here. I'm just gonna cut that off. Easy, easy. Good boy. Same thing, I like to check the balance before I start rasping so I can see where my high spots are. And I'm gonna come nice and easy over this. And it's very common where the nail holes are for them to chip up. And hopefully this bevel will prevent that, but sometimes chips do happen as the nail holes are growing out. Good boy. There we go. So it's really in the front feet that we're seeing this deep crack here in the central sulcus, which it's actually really good that he's letting me stick this hoof pick in there. Sometimes they just be so sensitive they won't let you do that at all. So that is a good sign for me to see. And these same flaps at the back of the frog I'm going to trim right there. Open the collateral groove. And I'm just seeing what scrapes off really easily. Good boy. This I'm gonna clean out better with some other stuff before I wrap it, but I'm just seeing what any actual hoof material I'm gonna trim off, which is gonna be very minimal. All right. Good boy. Just a few strokes along here. Let's see. Good boy. He does have a little low spot right there. Hit this heel. Good boy. I want him to be really even. There we go. And just come in at this angle. He has a really nice frog to toe ratio where he doesn't have a ton of extra toe coming out in front of this frog, which I really like to see. Oh, good boy. So I have a toothbrush and a wire brush here, and I just want to clean it. I'm going to start with the toothbrush because that's more gentle. And Because when I pack it and wrap it, I want to get as much of the infected material out of there first. And he's being really good about this. So, a wire brush here. Good boy. You good boy. Good boy. He is doing really great. Good boy. There you go. All right. That's good on that foot. Good boy. Boy, easy. Good. There you go. Just do the easy one at first. Just scrubbing that. Let's see. Good boy, easy. Good boy. All right. As much as he will let me. I don't want any black to be coming out on the Q-tips.
I have some hydrogen peroxide. You want to spray that in there?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. And this is actually, sometimes it's like very black and gooey. And his is pretty clean. Wonderful.
And do you want some brush X?
I'm going to put this paste that I have in there. There we go. So, this was actually very anticlimactic. Sometimes it's like, you know when they have that black gooey gunk in their hooves? Looks like slime. Sometimes that can be in there. So,
Okay,
this,
good. So.
yeah. So this is actually quite... All right. So I'm gonna make him his pad now. To do this, good boy. Oh, you don't want to stand on that? Come on.
Pull him forward.
It's okay. Let's just see. Good boy.
Just stand there. That's all. Good.
Oh, but you're right in the middle of it. I need to make two out of this one.
Oh.
Come here. Come here, good boy. Lift up your foot. Come on. See, it's not that bad to stand on there. It's kind of nice.
Come here.
Come on.
1,400 pounds. Yeah.
There we go. Good boy. Good boy. I just want to score it. Good boy. Come here. Pick it up. All right. This part now you can take a rest, buddy. Here we go. And this is 10 millimeter. I probably could have gone 8 millimeter, but this will just be nice and cushy for him.
Is he more likely to get something like that being barefoot?
You know, I mean, it comes from, I think it's more likely in shoes because of the lack of blood flow.
Okay.
The more blood flow to the foot, the less that's going to happen. So I've got this pad on there. I'm going to cut a little bit off the heel. There we go. And now the most important part, I'm gonna pack it here with hoof stuff. So this is zinc, honey, and it's like a fibrous material. And so it will stay in there really well. And it's not toxic, so that's, all right, here we go. Easy. The hardest part is getting the right size. Here we go. And I'm going to put some in his collateral grooves too, just for good measure. But I want to poke this in here. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. He's being a good sport about this. A little bit more here. Here we go. Sure. Come here, good boy, good boy. All right.
Nice job.
And I'm going to take with the vet wrap. Let's see. Start on the bottom. Wrap around. The one thing I don't want to do is wrap on the hairline. So I'm just wrapping on the hoof, because if you wrap on the hairline, that can restrict blood flow. So I'm wrapping here. Easy, easy. Good boy. And come right up to the hairline. Here we go. Good boy. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to set him down. You're being a very good sport, buddy. Come here. Here we go. I can stick this Q-tip pretty deep in there. I want to see what's coming out. I want it to come out a little cleaner than that. And he does on this side have more in the collateral groove area. There we go. And this is the tedious part, because you don't want to wrap it with the infected material in there. You want to cut as much of that out as possible, or scoop as much of it out. There we go. All right. There we go. Okay. Spray some peroxide for good measure. Making this stuff without wrapping it, I would use less, because the less you use, the better it stays in there. But right now I want to get a good treatment in here for him. Easy. Okay. Good boy. Good boy. Easy. Keep your foot on there. Here we go. Come on. Pick up your foot. You don't want to put it down. You don't want to pick it up. All right, good boy. Hang on. That should be quick from here. Easy. Last few here just for good measure.
It's gonna even you out, buddy.